I don't know how you get attached to things.
Baby.
Things that
Follow
we
me
even...
to BMW. Oh, follow me. Follow me, you'll be missed.
So we have the situation, we've signed the compromise, so we did exactly what she wanted to do. Cool. Hello, welcome back to your podcast with me, Lewis, and Sam.
Hello.
How's it going, Sam?
Hello, I'm doing well, thank you. Doing well. I'm a bit nervous for my first day tomorrow in my new role.
Is it actually starting tomorrow? I thought it was
I'm
a break.
No, so I talked to, I think everyone was advising it, and I think it's a smart move too. And I think it touched on what we're going to discuss in the episode today, and Sarah advised the same thing of take the break, and I wanted to. However, as things kind of worked out, it just seems to make more sense to just go straight into it because of the payroll situation. Christmas is coming. I just don't want to be in I don't want to be in a position in Christmas where I can't afford stuff. You get what I mean?
I understand you.
I'd rather just work through it. But the company have a mandatory holiday between the 20th and the 2nd of January. So I'll get that time back. But I'm going to be working really hard on my research just the next few days. I need to be doing 1,000 words a day basically to be able to finish it by the end of the year. So I'm going to commit to doing that and just slowly kill it off. But yeah, that's basically where I'm at. I think I'm a bit stressed because I've got a few goals, let's say, to hit.
Yeah, I understand why you're doing that because I'm working up until like New Year's Eve technically, and then starting new job 2nd of Jan. I was like, oh, don't you want to give yourself a break? But naturally, my role is dying down anyway during that period. So I'm like, well, I might as well just take the money. And the way that the payday works, like it's going to be like a 6-week gap basically between paydays because I usually get paid on the 15th, and now I'm going to be paid like on the 25th. So that gap's going to feel different. So I was like, well, I might as well just work, and it's going to be quiet anyway. So it's not much stress. And am I really going to be giving that much of a fuck during that last week? No, like I'm just being real. So I might as well just do it. But yeah, dude, that's exciting. Are you? Yeah. So you're in office most week, or?
So once again, we're kind of delving into what we're going to talk about in this episode. So there's a bit of a debate. So it's a change. So this office they're based in Chelmsford and London. So my base is London, but I'll be going to Chelmsford office every now and then. So I was sat with Sarah and I was just like, for the sake of getting in the car and then traveling down once a week, it works out more expensive to travel there and travel back once a week than it does to just go there and stay there for a week and then come back. Because the cost of electricity and charging the car, just the effort of having to drive back and forth such long distances once a week, I think like it. And if I commit to doing that, let's say every Wednesday, it kind of really messes with like my Tuesdays and my Thursdays. Because I'm basically just coming and like, oh, I'm so tired. That was a long journey back. I'm not able to like do such a long journey in London, actually like meet up with you and enjoy it and all these things. I'm basically the long journey of either being on a train to London and come back, which is expensive. So yeah, I basically sat and I was like, it makes more sense to do a whole week there. So do all my 4 days, 5 days, wherever it is, all my 4 days a month in one go, and come back and then just work from home for the rest of the month. And I think she's more like not a fan of being at home a week on my own, a month. And then she was like, if you add it up, it was a matter because obviously she's going to listen to the episode. So I'm going to say no offense before I say what I'm going to say. I don't mean to upset, but like Sarah's really good with English lit and reading. I would say I'm more of like the maths person in the house. So I was really like, I'd say it was rude how impressed I was by her quick calculation skills. And she was like, well, you're away a week a month, and if you add up some, that's like 3 months a year I don't see you. And then she's like, that's not okay. And I was just like, I don't like how quick you did that, maths. I don't like how quick that came to your mind. It was instinctive how quick. She's like, 3 months a year. And then when she worded it, I was like, yeah, I hear that, to be fair. I do hear that. But hear me out. Technically, it's still the same 3 months a year. It's just not grouped up as much because I'm going to be there once a week as an alternative. But if I'm there like 2 days a week, and then I move into another week, 2 days a week there, I'm still gone for that time. But yeah, she was doing the maths and she was basically like 3 months a year. I want to see you. I don't think that's fair. So, but I think it's striking a bit of a balance. And before we go too deep, it's striking a weird balance of obviously the P's are going up in this new experience. Obviously, the seniority has gone up for the new experience. A lot of dominance is required in this new role. And I'm going to be quite busy. Like not as busy as I used to be. I'm trying not to be, but it's quite clear that it's playing a part in, decision making, how I plan my week and all these things. So hopefully in this episode, we can kind of touch on, ways to work around these things. But yeah, it's definitely touching on the change in my new work routine. It's definitely going to have an impact on our home life routine in terms of how we do things. And I think it's definitely something that will need to be debated quite a few times until we settle on a fair split of how often I'm in the office and how often I'm at home. But yeah, I'd say for the first few months, I'm definitely going to be doing whole weeks in that office, I'd say, just to get comfortable and then coming back. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
How's your
That's an interesting. Yeah, that's an interesting situation to navigate, because
It is.
to be devil's advocate or to try and see a alternative, could you do like 2 days and then another block of 2 days? So like every other week you do that.
That's like the perfect in my brain. That's now doubling the traveling I'm doing. In that
Yes,
you see what I mean?
but for me, peace of mind is valuable, right? So I don't care if it's double. If it,
I mean, what's the saying?
everything else?
What's the saying? We had a debate. We realized she was right.
So yeah, it's like, so we decided. So it's like so we have the situation. We decided to compromise. So we did exactly what she wanted to do.
Arguably,
we both decided we're doing what she wants to do.
Yeah. And I think that's going to happen. I do think I'm going to end up doing London. Now, I think if I do that, I'll probably do London and the Chelmsford office. So I'll go stay with my mum, do London, Chelmsford, come back, have a week break, go back, London, Chelmsford, come back.
Yeah, I mean,
that's the best way to do it.
I think it. To be fair, I mean, you haven't done it yet. I mean, see how you find it.
I need to see how it's the first trial of it.
Yeah, you got to test it and see how it works, because it might you might find it worse than you imagined, and Sarah might find it not as bad. It's something to test.
We spent a lot of time together
and see how it goes.
Yes. I think having a house together has played a part in, like, we spend an extreme amount of time together.
Because the thing because in Sarah's defense as well, it's then the home becomes her responsibility that week as well, and that's one that you're running away from.
Exactly.
It's not just the time.
I'm not doing.
It's you're not doing your. It's not your. You're now dropping your home responsibilities, which I understand. That's also because that's something which I would not be as happy about as well, because, but at the same time, you're building and being able to provide more as a result of you doing this. So it's weighing up those things,
100%.
I suppose. So 100%. Yeah, that's an interesting one.
I'm trying to be as diplomatic about it as possible, because I'm trying to basically weigh up how can I be as efficient and practical versus how can I just make sure I'm because I would rather be here more often. Don't get me wrong, I'm not running away from home. I'm trying to basically force myself to take more of like what is the most practical route, and you've got to consider emotion plays a bit of practicality. I realize that we're diving straight into the juiciness of this episode and what it could be. So before I go in, I'm going to divert massively. Thai boxing, went back to my first session after having the lurgies. I'd say I smashed it. I've got a bit of a graze on my forehead here from, I don't know what happened. I think someone either headbutted me or something. But I'm loving it, dude. My fitness is top form, considering I took like a week and 2 weeks off. Went back and sparred. We did, I forgot what it's called, but we did 20 rounds, basically. It's basically, I forgot the name of it. So basically what happens is there's 3 of us. I think it's called round robin or something.
That does ring a bell.
There's 3 of us and one person's on the outside, and basically everyone does 2 minutes, but you interchange. So in your 2 minutes, you fight 2 people. and you take a 1 minute break, and then you come in, you do basically. So yeah, we made that work, and you just had to keep going. And George, I think the guy who was kind of like managing the whole thing that day, was basically saying like, yeah, you just got to keep going until you've done your 20 rounds. But I was proud of how consistently I felt fit every time. Like, I felt gassed out in the break, yeah, but I'll just get up and I'll just go at it again. And I didn't get the mindset of like, let me roll into a shell, let me like cover up in the corner and hope it's all over. I just sucked it up and just went through with it. Interested to see what happened next time we go, when I'm back again, because I'm going to be off for a week, obviously, because I'll be at work. So I'll be off for a week. By the time this ep comes out, I'll probably be at my Christmas party. So and then the next day I'll be doing a long drive back to Nottingham. So I think I'm going to try, and the following week just stick to it, get more runs in, get more fitness in. But I'm really enjoying things right now. What else? Anxious extrovert is done now. I'm not sure. I think we've not finished the dissolving process yet, but we're going to, so that's done. New idea with Luke is up. That's now going well. We've got a dev working on it. Because of my new job and all these changes, basically I can't work. Like, my contract literally says I can't work between 8:45 and 5:30 for someone else. So it's quite tactical in how it's broken up. So I basically have to be quite clear with Luke, like, I don't want to cause any issues. So after 5:30, we can book meetings with people and everything. But I don't want to be in a situation where like I'm in a meeting and wires get crossed or anything like that. So I just, especially for my probation, I want to make sure I'm doing the right thing. But in general, I'm quite strict with that process anyway. Like when I worked for Experian, it was 9 a.m. to 5:30. It was just Experian time. I didn't try to like break it up anyway. So that's kind of something that I'm adjusted to at the moment. I'm also adjusting to the idea that I'm no longer an Experian employee. That's kind of, yeah, I didn't realize how emotional I'd be on my last day. Like, but I think it's mainly because I got to feel what it was like to be in a really, really good team. And then I had to let it go because I found the best opportunity. Do you get what I mean? And it's almost like it was bittersweet. Like I finally saw the brighter side of Experian, and then it's all over. So, but I'm glad it was nice to know that everyone was a massive advocate for my job always being there for me. Am I going to chase after it? No, like I've accepted this new responsibility. I'm looking forward to it. But a lot of people are just like, the role's always going to be here for you if you want to come back, or there's always going to be a role here for you in Experian. I was like, I think I took it more as a testament of my character, and regardless of the trials and tribulations, I have been able to leave on a good note, enough of a good note that higher up people would want me to come back. And yeah, I'm proud of that. But I think I'm a creature of habit, and I'm dealing with a change that a change that I wanted, but now it's happening, and just like, it's weird, isn't it? It's just like, if someone's listening to this, like, I'm still looking for jobs. Why are you not so happy? Like, why are you so upset? But like, it's the other side of it right now of I'm embracing something where, yeah, it's good. It's a good thing. It's a good change. It's just, it's different. And I think it's the fear of the unknown. I think I'm actually just really excited and overwhelmed. I think that's the actual thing.
I think you're definitely just overwhelmed.
I think I'm excited and overwhelmed as I'm taking my natural approach to things that cause me extreme emotions, which is to switch off.
Yeah.
And ignore it. So.
Yeah, you've had a lot of changes in the last month, because you've gone from being very like, oh, everything's very normal, and then it's like anxious extrovert, when then redundancy, then new job, now you're going to be in London, you got rid of your car, like, like there's,
I didn't want to talk about that.
We're not
going to talk about it. I didn't want to talk about it, but I had to record a video for it, and I was sad.
But there's a lot of changes going on, so
yeah,
you're shifting a lot of things, and obviously it's fine to be overwhelmed, but because I know how you get attached to things.
Baby,
things like
follow me to BMW. Follow me, you'll be missed.
But I think that's normal, but like you said, they're all positive changes, and I think for me, to I don't try and make big decisions when I'm feeling overwhelmed already about lots of different changes, because then it becomes slightly addictive to just be like, oh well, what else can we change? Like, because when you're in that zone,
that's been happening.
But you just got a
lot of money.
But you just gotta sit with it and be like, oh, you know what? I am actually overwhelmed. And then once you accept that, then it's like, you know, so that's cool. They just got to sit with it for a bit, and then until it settles in. And you know, and for me, like that's exactly what it is. Like as soon as I handed in my notice and actually had spoken to, like, it's public knowledge that I'm leaving, it then became very real because, like, that first day, like in the office when I had the offer but the contract wasn't signed yet, I was like, I felt like I felt like a mole. Like I felt like a snitch. I was like, no one knows what I'm about to say. Like no one knows what's going on right now. Like no one like
Do you,
yeah.
you know in
I
your
was
last
like,
in your last few days when like because I feel like as much as you like to say the whole like I'm paid to be here and I do what I'm paid to do, like you still do a good job. You're not a bloody like you're not a leech. You don't just turn up in the company and just drain off all its resources and swan off. That's a bad reputation to have. But do you feel like a corporate spy when everyone knows you're leaving, but you have to ask important questions to get your job done? Like, so as a product owner, well, the role I've left now, the role I was trialing was product owner, and it's a lot of like technical details about the app and the features, and like to answer questions, I still have to like to fulfill my role. I basically have to ask very deep questions about it, like things that other companies shouldn't know to be able to achieve what I need to do. And everyone knows I'm leaving, but I'm also like, can I have a link to the architecture? Can I have a link to the schema? And what's the name of that server? Oh, can I have access to that server? And I'm just sat there like, anyone else, I swear anyone else looking at this would be like, don't give it to him. Like he's leaving the company.
yeah.
And then someone would be like, yeah, here's a mural for it. I'm just taking it. And my man just sat next to me, I'm just typing away and I'm just sat there like, oh, I feel like a spy. I feel like I can't be trusted. And if I was them, I'd be like, no, you can't have it. Like you're literally leaving, you can't have it. Yeah, I feel like,
You know,
yeah,
that's firm.
sense of authority that goes when you change your job, isn't there? No one
There is.
makes it what you say anymore because they're like,
Yeah.
you're not going to be here. Why do I
It's quite freeing though, because you know there'll be times where I know I've done everything and it's like 4 o'clock and I was like, oh, I can't leave because boss hasn't left yet. But the other day I'm like, you know what? I'm going because what are you gonna do? Like really? Like I've done all my stuff.
Oh my god!
Like this used to be like a tete-a-tete, like you know,
Yeah,
oh, but you know, shouldn't leave because I'm just gonna go because like,
facts. That's
like
true.
what do you have over me now?
It's true. It's actually true.
But anyway, dude.
Tell me about you anyway. Before we dive in, and maybe use your update to segue into it smoothly. Tell me about you.
Honestly, dude, I've been trying to enjoy. I've been enjoying the period of like enjoying the win. This is something because one thing which I always do, which is quite annoying, is like when I get a win, I'm like, oh yay, win, cool. What's next? Like, what's the next thing? And I've not been doing that, which is good. And I'm enjoying the period. Like, I'm enjoying the celebratory period. I'm not trying to think, oh, what do I need to do now? That kind of stuff. Like, I'm not dropping, like, I'm still going gym, I'm still going journaling and like therapy and all that sort of stuff. I'm keeping those things the same, but I'm staying present. I'm not thinking like, oh, what do I have to do like after I have this job? Like, what's the next thing? Because it's just not necessary right now. And the thing is, I'm trying to control the uncontrollables with what I used to do. So I'm enjoying the period I'm in right now. I've been looped into a short film, which is great.
Let's say more about it.
So
are you allowed to say much about these films at the start when you first sign up?
I just tend not to because I want it to speak for itself. When it's all like wrapped up in the bow, then I'm like, oh, here, because things take longer than they need to, as we all know, with like applications and shit. So that's exciting. So I'm still moving along those pieces. There are still things that I need to do, but again, my priorities right now is one is finding a place because still haven't found a place to move to, and because I like to be very proactive, but like, you know, the houses aren't going to be up until like late like December, like, so that's kind of like the stress, if there was a stress, but it's a good stress to have. I have positive stresses at the moment. I don't have any negative stresses, which is good. So again, my problems are better than most, and I'm sitting with that. But there's some days where I'm just like, I just want it all sorted, just so this just because I'm organized, and the flip side of that is impatience. I'm very impatient, and I just want things to be fucking done, and it does irritate me if I think about it too much.
Yeah.
But no, dude, I'm actually all good. Like, it's actually all areas of my pie of life are like at least a 7 out of 10, which is
Pie of life, remind me.
so it's like, how are your relationships? How's your fitness? How's your health? How's your mental health? Like your friendships and your family, like all those areas, and like finance, like all of it. Everything's at least a 7 out of 10, which is good. So I'm feeling very well balanced for once, and it's quite nice to be in. So I'm trying to enjoy this period until one of those areas dip back down to like a 3. So I'm enjoying.
Screw with you.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just enjoying the period that I'm in, and but I'm also, it's this weird thing of like, I'm enjoying this period, but also I don't want to become complacent and like continue to not work on editing and things like that. So I'll feel like once I'm finally settled in the job and like the house and like all those areas are sorted, I'm then going to be like, okay, once I understand my routine, I'm not in the office as much, I can now allocate, I know where to allocate my time to things. And right now, I don't really have a vision of what that may look like yet, because we don't know where we are and all that sort of stuff. I don't know what my workload is going to feel like. And so I want to be more settled first before I add on, because everything else will just fall apart.
What would be added on?
So in terms of, so once I'm settled into the role and I know like how my workload is going to be like with work and like how much time is needed for that, I want to become very comfortable in that before we be like, okay, I know I can add my time to edit and do company stuff in this area. So, but right now I don't know what the exact day to day is going to be like. I'm not sure what I'm going to be expecting and all that sort of stuff. So
is there a small risk of you just falling into a new routine that you get comfortable with and that you don't come back to the old one? Because you said you don't want to add on, but it's more like you don't want to return to your current responsibilities.
It's more like I want to know what my base is in terms of like my responsibilities that I have to do work.
Yeah.
And then I basically want to know, when do I have time to do the extra stuff? Because in my head right now, it's very rosy, but I know it's not going to be exactly how I want it to be. But I just want to know what that looks like. But again, I can't do that until I'm in it and I have my house sorted and all that sort of stuff. So I just very much just want all those things sorted. I want to know what my week by week looks like. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it though, because I know I'm gonna have like an office space now, because that's where I'm gonna be like majority of the week, and that's gonna be it's gonna be nice for me, because I'm not as accessible to salespeople tapping me on the shoulder every 2 seconds. So I'm looking forward to that part of my life, to be honest. But yeah, man, no, it's all good. There are some things to sort, but all positive things. But
good.
But yes, today I want to deep dive back into relationships. And one of the things which, now that we're both out of a difficult period, it'll fix itself.
Bet it fits itself. I look blurry, look fun. Okay, I'm back.
Right. Now that we're both out of a difficult period, I've been reflecting a lot on the support system. Another way of saying like our partners, your fiance, and how to navigate those periods of like when one of us or even both of us are going through it, and how to kind of navigate that. And I think it's slightly different in our circumstances, or in these, I want to very much focus on like these circumstances, as opposed to like very generic, like, oh, they really like words of affirmation and say like, oh, cheer up and things like that. I want it to be very specific to, I'm stressed the fuck out and I'm worrying about life. Like, it's very much that. And it's things that I haven't really, not I'm saying that I've Googled absolutely everything, but I haven't really seen it come up before. And it's things that I think your partner can add micro stresses without them necessarily realizing.
Yeah.
And you could probably relate to this a lot. So in the period where I was like, I fear I might lose my job, and London's stressing me out financially and things like that. And obviously, naturally, in relationships, you plan and you think, what are you going to do, and what things would you both like to do? And it's usually a very, very fun topic when both of you are in that mood to talk about it, right? And sometimes those topics are rough. You already know where I'm going with this. It's like
I'm going to tiptoe over some hot coals today.
One of the things that I noticed, and the thing is, I didn't even notice that it was stressing me out. But I only caught onto it one day when I was trying to be like more self-aware of my emotions and how it's actually affecting me. But it's like, if I've had a really shit day at work, or I'm thinking about, like, I'm in that period of like I'm stressed, and basically could send me like a link to like this holiday. Oh, doesn't this place look nice to go to? We should go there, right? It's literally it's harmless, right? We all do that. But when I'm in that mood and thinking, oh, I need to be able to do this and all that sort of stuff, I was like, these talking about holidays and making these plans, all in my head and thinking of how much this is going to cost me. I can't afford this. I'm not financially stable enough yet. And now I need to feel like I need to work harder to raise this money in order to do these trips, which, by the way, I would also want to do, but I just don't feel like I'm in this position to do so. Yeah. And I remember, like, it was always, it's not like oh my God, like, now you stress me out. It'll just be like a little thing. And I remember being like, I think sometimes talking about future plans is actually quite stressful. And I think you choose a time and place of when actually to talk about it. And the thing is, I even did this, I actually was on the other side of it the other week, where, Rose and I decided we're going to move out of London to Haywards Heath. And we also started talking about, like, oh, what house we want to buy, and like, oh, do we travel and things like that. And she was like, this is actually starting to stress me out. And I was like, oh shit, sorry. But the thing is, this is all off the back of me getting a new job. And I was like, oh, all of a sudden there's all these choices of things that we can do. Yeah. And it was my lack of self-awareness in that moment of, actually, let's just do that. We already discussed this one big change. We don't need to then think about what other changes we could do, which is why I was saying earlier, it can be addictive to be like, oh, we could also do this now. We could also do this.
It's literally that. It's like,
you need to stay grounded. This is why I hate like what's your 5-year plan? I hate I
have a 5-year plan.
Right. I think it should be more like, I don't think it should be a 5-year plan. You should have a 5-year compass, a general direction of where you want to go. Because if you have a 5-year plan, like Sam, a year ago, just over a year ago, we didn't have the podcast. You didn't have this other business that you're starting on. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's so much that goes on. There should be a general compass of where you'd like to be, but a 5-year plan of saying, like, oh, in 2028 or 29, this has to happen. I think it gives a lot of stress.
I'd say, okay, I'll meet you in the halfway. I don't have a word for word exactly what I want to be doing. One, you to actually have exactly what I want to be doing, but it's more 5-year milestones. So by this point in my life, I want to have achieved this. By this point in my life, I need to have achieved that. It's not I'm going to make sure I've got this role by this point, because I'm not I think role titles and stuff and all these definitions, they're all arbitrary. The outcome you want is more money or more. It's usually more money or more authority or both. It's very rarely everyone dreams of becoming head of product. You just want to do what head of products lets you do. In some other company, it might be head of innovation. It's still different role titles. You know what I mean? So I have like guidelines of what I want to achieve. And I'd say that it's very easy to start speed running them when big changes like this happen. And it's what I don't like is, when the changes come in of like, oh, let's say we've always been looking forward to buying a flat. And all of a sudden my money's up now, so we're going to buy a house, right? Or let's say I just want a small car, but all of a sudden my money's up now. So, I mean, I'll probably be the one advocating for getting a Ferrari than she Sarah would be. But like, it would be those kind of pivots. It's almost, I'm sorry, I've just realized I've interrupted you massively. But yeah, it's almost like, it feels like a selfish attack from someone else of like, don't you get what I'm going through? Like, don't you see I'm stressing out? Yeah. And it's always like, they don't see it that way.
But yeah, I think on the 5-year plan part, just to close that off, it's like, it should be written in pencil, not ink.
Okay, I hear that.
You should be flexible about it.
I hear that.
and not be like, oh well, we are supposed to be doing this at this point. It's like that's just not how it works.
It's so easy to say when we're doing good. Like, Lewis, we're doing good now. We got great goals
now, but that's
it's easy to say when like you're ahead of plan. When you're behind the plan and someone says that to you, you're like, you shut up. You shut up with your down talk.
But it can also very easily go because of redundancies. Because now you're not expensive. You're more expensive now. That means you're easier to get rid of.
My lifestyle be like inflation. It never goes down.
Yes, that's true. But I think one of the things which I wanted to discuss is basically navigating those periods of turbulence where one is turbulence, and I think there's two things that I think need to be, or like two or three, more so two. It's like the love languages for someone who is going through that period. I think are really important to understand, and also the communication. Because for me, for example, I think you've even seen it happen. It's like I have Rosie to be my accountability manager to tell me when to sleep and when to eat. Right? Because if it's like, I think you're being like, because I can trust her to be like, listen, you haven't slept or maybe not eaten properly, and this is why like you're being stressed
what
out.
The short wristbands do.
So, but it's true. But it's really, but the thing is, I sometimes ignore it. But the thing is, the whip doesn't have a nice space to tell me, oh, you need to like. The whip sometimes makes me mad. They sometimes
Rosie's one whoop up day away from losing that job.
Well, I don't like. Whip won't tell me like, hey, you're kind of being a dick at the moment. Like,
yeah, I hear that. I hear that.
So I think the more like, because it's so easy to get into like, you need to work more, you need to work more, but. And it's so easy because right now, I mean, that's one thing which I'm looking forward to when we move in together. Because right now, it's like I could work till 1 a.m. if I need to. But if Rosie was here, she's like, "What the fuck are you doing? Like, go to bed." And I'll be like, "Okay, fine." And I find it much easier to relax because right now, like my work and where I sleep are in the same space, which is another problem.
That's not healthy at all.
But okay. But Rosie is like a reminder to like actually switch off and relax. And so I tend to not do work when she's around. I'm not saying that's a bad thing because I coincide it with like, okay, it's now time to switch off and exit work mode. And one of the things which I think was being problematic before therapy started was work mode was all the time. And like I was sleeping in work mode, and like I was having a relationship in work mode, and that's when it's like, oh, are we seeing this really cute dog? But I'm in work mode. I'm like, I didn't give a fuck about this random dog, and then I seem like a dick. And it's just like I don't care. I'm tired. I'm stressed. I don't care about this fluffy dog. I just want to feel peaceful in my head. And it's like, now Susan. It seems very like. Sorry, continue.
No, I was going to say, it just seems so justified when you feel like that.
Yeah.
Right. It seems so logical when you feel like that. When they're coming at you with we've not been on a date night for a while. And I'm just like, I'm looking for a job, woman. Like, I need money. I need to live my life. Or it would be like, oh, let's go on a holiday. It's like, once again, I'm looking for a job. And when that job starts, I'm in a probation. I can't be taking time off willy-nilly in that time.
Yeah.
So no holidays.
And
it's also like, you got to view it from their perspective of they've probably seen it from an outside perspective what they think you need, and what you think you need arguably are probably just wants in the grand scheme of things, because you can survive without some of the things you're stressing about.
I think what I think is now really useful. We've gone through this period of like, oh, I don't understand like why he's in a bad mood or whatever. She can sniff it from a mile away, because all you need to do is she'll be like, stop thinking about it. Oh, like I haven't done anything. And it's like, it's now got really good. And one of the things which we'll now do, and I understand now, like, because when my dad used to come in from work, when me and my brother were kids, like my mum would be like, give your dad like 20 minutes.
I'm starting to think your parents don't want you guys.
Or you go, it'll be like, say hi to dad, but it's like, don't give dad, like, don't ask him about all this random crap going on. Like, give him 20 minutes, and that 20 minutes, I know my dad will come in, have a shower, be like, just
Just de-stress.
And that's my mum protecting my dad's peace and letting him switch off to be in
good.
dad mode. And I've now understand that upon reflection. And it would be something like, I know if Rosie comes in straight from work and she's coming straight to mine,
Yeah.
what she won't appreciate me being like, oh, hi, like, how's your day? Da, da, da. It'll be more like showers on, like showers ready, go through like de-stress and like shower, put on comfies. And then we can do that whilst I like prep food. It's not like it's now time for me to barrage you with affection because I need that because I've missed you. It's not about my needs at that moment because you've been in work all day. Do you know what I mean? So it's understanding those like, so for me, it's those like acts of service. That's where acts of service comes in. Like, it's not when I come in sweaty, I spend an hour on a tube. It's not time for, physical affection and, all that sort of stuff. It's not that time for that. What I need right now is a shower to be fed. And then I can have that. I now have that space and I've now switched off to kind of.
You said something earlier about your parents that pinged something for me. And it's around, I was making a note of it just then. I was listening. But I was just making a note of something just to make sure I didn't forget it. You said something about how your mum just knew that your dad needed his space or his peace. And I think it's something that we all assume that our partners should know of us, or we assume. I'll say it this way. We all assume our partner should know of us. I assume Sarah should just know when I'm having a bad time, and she should just understand that I need space. And I feel like, how long have your parents been together? If you don't mind me asking.
Like 30 plus years.
Okay. I feel like people see their parents live that standard of life of like, if arguably maybe if you're in a healthy home, your parents aren't like chasing each other with knives and stuff, and your dad isn't going for milk and not coming back. The storylines are different, right? The storylines are very, very different for different people. But I'd say arguably a lot of people in relationships see their partner as, you're my special person that should be able to know when I need a space. Like, when I had the birthday rant and I was upset, like, how did Sarah not know I was upset? Or because during this whole like job search experience, like, there's many times where she said stuff like, it's made me think, oh, how do you not know what I want? But arguably, I'd say it's similar to, when I had said about, I hate it when I'm going through stuff and then people like ask me to do stuff for them. And it's almost like that you get that I'm going through stuff right now, but then I've not actually told them exactly what I'm going through. I'm assuming that they understand that I'm busy all the time because I'm a big deal. And I was wondering, when do you think your parents, if you do know the answer, if you don't, it's fine, but when do you think that switch flicked, or when did that, that grow into the current state it's at, where they kind of just look at each other and it's like, I get that you need your space right now. Do you think it was instant, or do you think it's gradual?
I don't think so. I think it becomes like nature after you've been with each other for a certain amount of time in order to understand, like, what your partner's going to need after that particular period, even if they realize that they don't think that they need that right now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I'm not saying Rosie and I are at the, oh yeah, we have that 30 years of marriage experience of where we understand, but I do understand where certain needs are going to build before they arise. It's kind of, do you know what I mean?
I do. I feel like young couples, we still play pretend, like we did at school, where you have like your wife from primary school, you get married at lunchtime, you play pretend you got home. I feel like everyone plays pretend until a point where pretend becomes the real world because you've done it for so long. Yeah, and it's not that, I'm not bashing my relationship. I'm not saying I'm playing pretend I don't care about Sarah. There's certain things you do in a relationship that you assume is the right thing to do. Just naturally assumes right, because you see everyone else do it.
Yeah.
Right. Going on a date night, all these things, you just assume the right thing to do. And you see some other couples do it and they seem so happy to do it. And you're kind of sat there like, we're sat here with like businesses we want to run, work responsibilities, education, all these things we want to do, whilst we're still trying to play this game of, look at us being all happy, look at us doing all these things together as an awesome couple. And I feel like people do that in hopes of what they're pretending to have sometimes, which is a really happy life, when it's probably something that you naturally grow into, and patience plays a massive role in doing that. It is probably, I do see it as, it's something that if you're very strong-willed, or if you're very independent, it's something you have to suffer through. in search of that later on happiness of being with that special someone, you do have to suffer through having to make way for someone else's needs and wants. You have to suffer through. You basically have to like train yourself like a pet into being a good partner.
I think what's quite good is like, for example, if I'm in evidently like a shit mood or something bad has happened, right? What I think your partner, what you should do for your partner, or either way, is give the person the love language that they need, not the one that you would want in that situation. For example, I know if I've received bad news, let's just say job rejection, because that happened a lot. Now, for me, I actually would just want to sit with the news for like half an hour, stick on TV, and just be pissed off, then talk about it.
Yeah.
Right. Now, I would say Rosie's initial reaction would be to be like, "Oh, are you okay?" Like, try and talk about it and things like that. For me, that's the last thing I want to do, because I haven't processed everything yet, and also I'll be pissed off, angry / upset, and I will react badly to something that she might innocently say, like, "Oh, it's fine, like, you know, the next one will be the," you know what I mean? And it's like, that's the last thing I wanna hear, because now I'm thinking about a next application. Do you know what I mean? And so what now we will do, or what now will naturally happen, is like, I would just want her to be there, but like create like, it's like doing nothing. It's like being alone together. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, I just want you to be there, but I don't want you to coddle me and be like, it's gonna be. I don't want that, but I want you there, just in case.
Just
And then
be present.
there,
You don't have to say stuff. Just be there.
you don't have to say anything. You're doing enough just by being there. Like, that's exactly what I want. And then once I'm ready to talk about it, I can actually then talk about it, and actually we can then have that part of it where I made preface and
That's
talk
the
about
difference,
emotional kind of things.
I don't know if Rosie's like this, but I do feel like I see it. I know sometimes I make certain comments that I say, you know, I do see this in more women than men, but it's because my only reference points in all of my experiences has been that I've seen more ladies do this than men do this. It might be different in different cultures. It might be different from different people's perspectives.
It's okay. So you're being cancelled. That's fine.
Thank you. No. I'm raising the point because I think I'm still in research mode where like I always have to like counter my biases in what I say. To make sure that it's clear where my mind's at when I say what I'm saying. Anyway, what I'm basically trying to get to, damn it, you threw me off. Okay, I'm back. What I'm trying to get to is like, I do get the sense that guys tend to just want to go through whatever they're feeling and then talk about it once it's processed. And you just want to live in that emotion. Whatever emotion you're feeling right now, you just want to live in that emotion and go over it. Obviously, you're not enjoying it, but you just want to get over it and you want to like process it. Whereas ladies tend to want to talk about it. But what I don't like is unproductive discussions about the problem. So that's why I find that it's easy for me to talk to my guy mates, because I do have some girl mates that are quite logical. Sarah can be quite logical sometimes, but she likes to just talk about things without like a solution to the problem. And I'm kind of like, if I'm going to have to talk about it, it's because like when I talk to you about my problems, we'll have like a logical discussion and there'll be a solution at the end of it. There'll be an approach that will come to a conclusion. Like, I'll say something, you'll be like, Sam, you're being a bit of an idiot about this. This is what you're thinking, blah, blah. We'll process it. Whereas if I talk to Sarah, it would be met with like sometimes just silence. But I think from her perspective, that's what she wants sometimes when she just goes in like a rant. She just wants me to like listen and, you know, act. Whereas I'm kind of just saying stuff. I'm like, well, what do you think? And it's just like, well, you've got to make a choice for yourself. I'm like, no.
No. I think to be fair, I think Rosie is actually she is actually quite good, because before she will get fully mad or upset about something, she will say often to me, "I am just processing." I do, however, think it will, and I will caveat that, because you guys like, "Wow, you just think I'm all emotional, I want to talk about feelings," so I'm going to protect myself there. But I think it sometimes does depend on what field of her life is upsetting her. When it's like friends and stuff, it will tend to be more of a, I want to talk about it because it's upset me. And I do think venting does have its place, because I'll be a hypocrite saying that, because I vent to Rosie all the time. It's just a vacuum and it just goes to her. And then I don't feel like I've vented, but it's weird because I actually am not great at being vented to, but I will vent, and that's an area of my life which I am working on because again, I just think, what's the point of this?
Yeah, I was
I
like,
don't
well,
know.
how are we going to solve this
Yeah,
problem that you've brought
but
today?
the thing is that's a very typical male way of thinking, and so once I actually understand, like, actually she needs to vent because it's the same thing as like journaling, and that for me is like just venting and just closing it. So I'm understanding its place, and sometimes I'm just like, okay. But what I will do is just there is a point where venting comes into being toxic when it's just going around in circles.
Yeah.
And I will say, like, you've said what you want to say. I feel like we're now going in circles, and you're adding your fuel to the fire. But I understand where you're coming from, and now let's.
You can see when someone's working themselves up.
Yeah, you're working
like into being more upset.
Let's watch Modern Family, or let's go.
Feed you, or
let's
that's so pure depression.
It's like, let's actually do something fun. Let's not let this 5-minute thing that's pissing you off ruin the day. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you got to do like a sandwich. You got to do like, the good stuff in the middle is like you know, the core of the problem and stuff like that. But you got to like be like, hey, let's now do Modern Family or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, get yourself out of that cycle because it is difficult. And for you, it's like, your Xbox or whatever, or you might go car shopping for vibes. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, but I think
not for vibes. I'm terrible with money.
But I think, to close that off, I think love languages for sure is understanding them, particularly for someone who is going through it. And it's not just like you two having a problem. It's when one of you, I think, is going through those trenches. And I'll be honest, Sam, like this, it's weird because I think Rosie and I are talking about this because, I've been looking for a new opportunity the entirety of our relationship. She's now seen me now in like this weird new version of like, oh, this is actually a happy version of you. And now we're navigating these waters. And it's like, it's quite weird. But what my therapist said, which was quite interesting because I was very much like concerned of like, it'd be very easy for if I was just always going through these periods of like, shit isn't sorted in my career and all this sort of stuff. It'd be very easy. And I think a lot of, I feel like less willed partners would be like, oh, this guy hasn't got his shit together. Like he's clearly going nowhere. And I said that it was like a slight insecurity because like, what if I have like another year of trying to get out of this? And then Rosie said like, well, you're always trying. I was like, if you weren't trying anymore and you fully gave up, like you wouldn't be here I was dating. And that provided me a lot of comfort because I just felt like I was excited. I was the one who was always like, going, man. I just felt like I was always going through shit, and that was just like how I was becoming. And what my therapist said was like, just think of it as like you're traveling the waters first, and you're letting her know that it's safe. So that when she's going through a period, you'd be like, "Oh, it's fine. I've gone through these waters. Like, I know what you need to do."
You almost gracing yourself with a sense of not a sense of responsibility, but it's almost like that traditional authoritative male role.
Yeah,
I think deep down, a part of most guys, you want to have that kind of position in life where you have like command of your home. As much as I'd say we're more liberal and we're more like fair and equal, a part of me would feel like a type of way. Even if Sarah made more money than me, I'd feel a bit emasculated to a degree if I was in front of her friends and she was just like, "Oh, I'm her sugar mum. She's my sugar mum." That kind of thing. So it's almost like your therapist. It sounds like she gave you a way to reassert to yourself that there is some kind of this masculinity here. Like I'm taking the risks so I can tell you what it's like out in these streets. That's basically what you're saying. Yeah.
And it actually did help my way of thinking. The thing is, I never have thought of it in that way because when I hope, I pray that Rosie never goes through a difficult period like that.
Yeah.
And I hope that when that time, if it does ever come, I'm able to be as supportive as she was for me, because she didn't know what I was like. Because she was like, I haven't had to deal with like, someone being like trying to go through this for like 2 years. So I don't know. Yeah, but I just think that was just something I just wanted to bring up. But I think as well, what I had learned is also that, which comes with the, oh, I understand what you need at this moment is like just communicating. And it's like, even like just communicating was on my mind. And the thing is, it was like, it was never just one thing, which was very frustrating. It was like, oh, what do you think about? It's always like these 5 different things at once. And she'll just be like, okay. And they'll be like, so that's what's on my mind. And then it kind of helped. The symptoms are very much the same of when I'm stressed about something, because I'll usually just be I'll just be breathing through my nose a lot and just like doing deep sighs and be like, what's wrong? I'll be like, nothing. And then it'll be like, and I think it's very funny because I watched this Trevor Noah clip, and before he assesses if he's actually still pissed off or upset about something, is like, have you been fed? Have you had a good meal? Have you had enough sleep? And have you had enough water? So, and in particular now, like, even if, like, Rosie's done something that might have upset me, am I actually upset? Or is it something that I'm just lingering on to because I haven't slept or I haven't had water and all that sort of stuff? Once I've done all those things, am I still pissed off about it? Most of the time, it's actually actually, no, I'm actually fine. I think I was just working myself up about this one thing. But if I'm still thinking about it after all these things, then it's probably something which shouldn't like stay in here, and I should probably like talk to you about it. So, and I think that's the same. That's not just for like relationship stuff. I think that's the same of anything, because usually one of those 3 things will fix it in your head.
In the
you approach it.
In our last episode, you talked, I think, I don't know if it was the last episode. It was. I'm not, it probably was. We were talking about successes. That was the last one, wasn't it? We were talking about the fact that we got a new job, or we asked about it and stuff, yeah. And I think one thing we touched on was about young entrepreneurs having to balance multiple responsibilities, because we don't live in a day where, houses are as cheap as they used to be. And maybe in the grand scheme of things back then, cost of living was also different. So maybe it didn't feel as cheap as it actually was, whatever. Regardless, the general consensus was people should consider balancing multiple income streams before they delve into entrepreneurship. And I think when you're in a relationship as well, it feels like an added responsibility. Well, I definitely felt like that.
But the relationship,
like that. Yeah, of like, you've got your work, you've got your business idea, you've got a relationship, and there's lots of things you've got to upkeep. And a lot of the first 2 things in many ways are selfish within their own rights, right? It's all about me. It's all about me making my money. It's all about me coming up with a business idea. Unless your partner's a part of it, right? And then you have your relationship, and then they want to maintain that happiness. They want to maintain that structure. And when your partner's kind of doing the part of making sure that that's healthy, they'll come to you with criteria, just like your boss will come to you with like a list of items you need to do, just like your business has requirements that you need to fulfill in a week. Your partner comes with the requirement of that job, which is, we need to do a date night, we need to go on holiday, we need to let's cook some food together, let's go for a walk. And for someone like me, because I see everything as immediate, I see every request as it has to be done now, or it will never be done. But also because of how my brain is structured, if I don't do it now, I probably will never get it done. To be honest, it will just flow into like a cloud of maybes, and I'll just let it fly away. So I feel like I have to action it now or never. And because of that, when I'm going through that stress of like business, work, research, all these things, and then Sarah would come in and be like, oh, let's go for a meal. I'm just like, do you not see what's on my table? Do you not see my table is full? And you want to just add that plate in? Or is like when you wash it, the best way I can describe it is you've been washing dishes for 2 hours, and then your mum just comes and puts another plate in. Just as you're about to wrap it up, she just dishes another plate in there. And then just as you're washing that, your brother and sister come and put a plate in. And then your dad puts a plate in. And you're just looking around like, yo, do you not see that I'm working here? Can you not wash your own plate? Can you not do this yourself? Like, it'll be like, Sarah will be like, oh, I'm hungry. Like, I wouldn't mind some McDonald's or something. And then she would say that in the expectation of I would go out and get it. But I'm also sat here like, you have a car. Drive to McDonald's yourself. And then from her, it's kind of like the acts of service of, but the streets ain't safe. And I'm like, yeah, but you'd probably go to like Bottomless Brunch with your friends. It's the same streets. This time you're drunk and loose on the streets. It's the same streets. You drive to that on your own, or you get a taxi to that on your own. with a taxi driver you never met before. So what's the difference between that and you just going to Asda on your own and getting something? And it's that logical path of, to me, it's a task. And to me, it's a task that becomes as important as all the others. And it's the decision making of what's the hierarchy of what's more important. And I'm not saying Sarah isn't as important as my day job, but what's definitely more important is not getting fired and losing the revenue stream we have in this house, right? And I'll catastrophize it in my head, and I'll reason it in a way where it's just like, this task that I'm already doing that I've now got motivated and invested in is way more important than stopping this and doing this relationship related thing. But the way I work is, if I was to stop this task and do a relationship related thing, I'll be just as passionate about that task as I am about what I'm doing right now. I just need to give it a go.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I'd suggest to other people, is just give it a go. Just
make
a note to yourself, pause what you're doing, and then come back to it later.
Yeah. What I will say is that having a partner who understands what you're going through is actually very important, and who isn't very much focused on, oh, I need you to be doing this for me so that I'm happy.
Don't become a lemming. Don't,
because one of the things is that has been important for me is that it's been very imbalanced. There's never been periods of like imbalance, because like, if I'm focusing on getting a new job, I'm putting every single thing I have within like that period, and it won't be Bruce won't be like, oh, but what about our date night? Because she knows I don't give a fuck about our date night, and she wouldn't either, because she's like, this is more important. But what I will do is say, hey, I know that I've put in 100% into this for the past like 2-3 weeks. Now that that's now died down, there'll be more balance. We'll do a date night and things like that. Because I think if we were, it's impossible. I don't like the idea of, oh, you have to set this date night every week, and if it doesn't happen, then the world's going to fall apart. It's a great ideal. However, life doesn't work that way. But I will always acknowledge the importance of spending that quality time. And the thing is, quality time is the most it's the most expensive thing, right? Because you can't get that time back, and sometimes time is very limited resource, unfortunately. And the thing is, all these areas take away from that pot. So when there are those periods of like, and it has been like that for the past few weeks, it's been like, okay, it's been very busy. Like, you've been busy, then I've been busy, and sometimes the calendars just don't align. Like, it does happen, and you might not have a date night in like 2-3 weeks, and then what I noticed, and Rose is gonna laugh at this, is that when we haven't spent quality time for like a few weeks, because like, she's been busy, I've been busy, and then then she's away for work, then I got a date with the boys this day. Like, she'll send me a lot. She'll ask me like a lot more like reassuring questions, like, "Oh, are you okay?" and like all that sort of stuff. And then she'll be like, "I think I'm being needy because we haven't had enough quality time recently." Be like, "I am also aware of it. Don't worry, we'll sort it out." And then we'll sort it out that week. Be like, "Okay, we're gonna do this. We'll do this," and then like, it's cool. So it's imbalance is once you're able to navigate imbalance, I think that's a very good thing to have, because it's very easy to be like, oh, Wednesday's our date night, but what happens if it doesn't happen that Wednesday? Then what are you going to do? So understanding what you need as a result of imbalances, I think, is actually quite important to navigate.
I think what I hate about a lot of like modern day relationship advice and support is the new generation of key terms, like the love languages. When people mention things like ick, when people like all these key terms, I don't know what it is, but like, they set me on edge, mainly because maybe ick and love languages and stuff can't be grouped together. It to me is quite childish.
Right. And people who say that people who unironically say they get icks are going to end up alone, and I'm going to die on that hill. Like, you actually
I'm being serious.
You aren't mature enough to be in a relationship, to be completely honest.
Generally, if you are above the age of 25 and you use the terminology ick, get your cats, get your single bed flat, get comfortable. If you're going to die, if that's like, if you live by it, get comfortable.
I understand the like, oh, they did this and you get that, but if you actually were to end,
if you can't articulate your problem,
if you were to end a long-term relationship because you saw them chase a ping pong ball, like, you need to sort that life out.
It's childish. It's childish. I'm not gonna lie. Hearing that would make me it makes my skin crawl. okay, hearing someone has an ick gives me the ick.
Yeah,
My
yeah,
ick is
that's
people
right.
having an ick. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is there's a lot of like
Key terms.
generalizations or key terms that things are grouped into, and it becomes like in many ways sometimes
You don't like
like
the
you're doing.
box.
I don't like the box. I
Yeah,
hate the box.
yeah, I know you
I
do.
don't. I don't like the idea of process for process sake. And I feel like sometimes we put ourselves in a position where we don't understand why we're doing what we're doing. We're just doing it because it's the right thing to do, or because some generalization has said that this is important. So quality time is important, and we know that spending good time together is important. But when the justification for why we should do this is the key term quality time, I've already lost interest in this. You can't justify the process with just telling me the name of the process. You have to like justify why it's important to us, why it's a good, like that's the conversation I love to have, like the intellectual conversation,
Yeah,
digging deeper about why we're doing it, the reasons behind it. If someone, even as a product manager, I'm the same. I hate it when people say, well, this is the agile manifesto or something. I'm just like, it's the name of the process. Don't just tell me the name of the process and say that's why we're doing it because it's called this. It 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 jars me, and I just stress me out. So I struggle to reason with that kind of logic, and I need to understand, like, use simple words, whether you want to talk about feelings, wherever it is, just talk about what the problem is we're trying to solve. Don't just group it into key terms. Key terms is how you use it to talk to other people about it and explain it to them and say, okay, oh, we wanted some quality time, this is what we did. But I think because we've generalized things into all these bubbles, I'm thinking people are just ticking boxes at this point in relationships. Not many people actually understand what they're doing. Like a lot of people are going on like, I know couples that will go on the maddest holidays and they'll be like quality time. I'm like, quality time is also going to watch a movie together. You didn't have to fly off Dubai. Like you didn't have to do any, like, it's the logic around like, oh, the more money you spend on your quality time now, it's like I was like, I don't think you understand why. You have to have something that you're doing this for. You're trying, whether it's you're trying to maintain a certain level of enjoyment with each other, whether it's trying to do like, that's what it means. So do that. Don't just say quality time and we're doing it because quality time, or wait, we're doing this because acts of service. Acts of service is important. Why are you doing the acts of service? And I think that's the difference I'd say. Going back to what point I made earlier, I think that's the difference I'd say between people our age and people our parents' generation. Is that they didn't have those key terms. They literally had to articulate what the bloody problem was.
yeah.
Like they had to say, this is why we're doing this. And I think because of that, they had a deeper level of reasoning, understanding. You accepted it more when someone was just like, let's go on a date. It would be, let's go on a date because, hey, we've not spent much time together. I understand you're going through all of this. But I really think it would be nice for you to just take some time away from all these stresses and like just zone out a bit, relax. And that's where it kind of goes, okay, I get it. But then if I'm like drowning and struggling to find a job and someone comes to me and goes, hey, we've not had much quality time lately. Can we go get some quality time? It's important that we have quality time. Like, what is going on here? This is just sounds like a distraction from the fact that I need to find a way to make money. So, not that Sarah does that. Sarah doesn't do that. I'm just using that example. Before I get put in the spare bedroom for the next week, I do not want that. The bed is
Quality time by yourself.
Enjoy your quality time. Let me explain this to you. But yeah, I think that's something that needs to stop. We just need to.
I think
Key term is there to categorize it, not to explain.
I think it's a good blueprint for to be devil's advocate. I think it's a good blueprint for someone who doesn't have any sort of EQ or has quite a low EQ.
I would argue if you've got low EQ, maybe you're not ready.
Yeah, probably not. But at the same time, it's like I think, yeah, I do hear what you're saying, but I think again, it's like it's actually communicating those things, and like we're not mind readers, and
Exactly.
I think that's very important. And sometimes I know it's very much women are often labeled with they want men to be mind readers, but sometimes we are as well,
I don't.
and I don't think that's fair. So I think sometimes, and I it's not just communication, it's just like the way that you communicate it as well.
I think that's the thing.
And I understand that I have this weird thing where it's like if I say something very blunt and direct, it seems it's quite rude. But then again, if I try to be over communicating, it then seems as I'm being condescending, and I'm not. But I'm just trying to feed it in a way that doesn't make you upset. And so there's this middle ground of I need to communicate what I'm saying, but not sound like I'm being condescending. And that's what I've tried to navigate.
A bit of a sidetrack. One thing I've started to do is get relationship advice from my friends that are in long-term relationships.
Oh, of course you do. You don't go to someone who's out of shape.
No, but I mean even venting. I don't even vent to my single friends. I don't even like talk about stresses to my single friends. I just don't, because it's not the same kind of advice. People give advice mainly, unless they're actual relationship counselors or they're paid or it's a profession.
Yeah.
People give advice from their experiences. If I'm going to someone, and I'm asking them how to fix my car and they've never driven a car before, I'm clearly talking to the wrong person here, aren't I?
I've always said, like, get advice from someone who's in a position you don't want to be in. Like, for example, if someone's out of shape, you don't ask them for advice on how to lose weight, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, 100%. The thing is, though, I've always found this weird in relationships, because if I have a problem in my relationship, and a lot of people don't communicate that problem to their partner, and it's like, that's the one person who I need to actually talk to about to solve it. Don't get me wrong. If there's something that has come up, like relation problem wise, like I'll go to either my dad or my brother or my mum. But even then, that actually hasn't even happened in my relationship with Rosie yet.
Like my last resort of, if I'm really good, like
that's it. It can't be.
It's like a permanent. It's like getting something put on your permanent record. Once mum knows I'm not happy, we're screwed. Like if my mum knows, like it's forever. I know that woman in the back of her mind was like, that one time you made my son unhappy. Like, that's no in the back of her head. That just living rent free.
I find it so interesting that sometimes the person who knows the least about the problems of your relationship is actually your partner. Not in my case, but in a lot of relationships.
Yeah.
Like, all your boy, like, one of the boys is like bitching to his missus and all that sort of stuff. And it's like, I just see,
and then she's talking to girls, and then eventually it comes to like your missus, and then I'm hearing the boys' side, she's hearing the girls' side.
And I'm like,
just talk to each other.
And it's really funny because Rosie will often send me like these reels or like these TikToks of like a girls' brunch, and all the partners are bitching about their misters, and I can't relate at all. And it's like, I've never once gone to the boys and actually been like, oh, Rosie's da-da-da-da-da-da. Like, like, why would I do that? And also, if she is pissing me off, she's the first to know. Like, why is she the last one to know?
I would say we're in a weird situation. I don't really have many. I have one or two, but I don't have many single friends. And actually, no, let me take it back, because I've definitely told a lie here. That person's going to listen to him like, yo, I'm single. You come to me for advice all the time. But it's not I go to him for advice. He's a close enough of a friend that he knows me well enough, and he'll call me out on my BS. So there's categories to it. I'm saying that I wouldn't just in general go to, and even then, no offense to him, he knows who he is. No offense to him, but his advice is taken with a bit of a pinch of salt. Like it's taken with a, let me go check this with other people first.
I think you can get advice from like, oh, am I being the dick? If they know you, but if it's like, oh, we are having this da 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 da.
Yeah.
I sometimes think your single mate who has never been in. Sometimes your single mate actually drops some bars and it doesn't make any sense. And sometimes I will say some, but I think when it gets into tricky waters, I think you do need to go to someone who's actually
you need to go to when it's a tough one. If it's like a little bickering thing and it's just logic versus logic isn't working, then anyone can really translate it. I'll say one person who is, I don't know. Actually, no, I'm not going to put his name out there because I don't know who he might be or not talking to. I'm about to ruin his whole streak he's got going on here. But I do have a friend that I would go to because I would say that my EQ is very calculated. I'd say I've got good EQ, but it's because I pay so much attention to make sure I understand what people are feeling. That doesn't mean I react well to it. That doesn't mean I'll like give people the response they need. But I usually understand when people are upset. That doesn't mean I know the right response to give them. I just know you're angry.
Why? If my friend's sad,
like I'll look at someone, I'm like, I know you're upset. Am I gonna fix it? I'm not sure. I know you're sad, so I'm gonna just stop talking. But I'd say that because I have to pay I try to take a very logical path to it. So sometimes I'll go to this friend and I'll kind of feel like, this is what I'm currently going through. I feel like I'm right. I can't logic a way into why I'm wrong. I can't get my head around it. And he approaches almost every conversation as though it's a business deal.
Mm.
So he takes the whole like, this is what I've had with girl. He never. That's what I love about him. He never relates it to. he- he's single, but he never relates it to, oh, when I was talking to this girl, I went through the same thing. He just says, well, you got to see it as this way. Maybe this is what she's considering. You got to see it like, I know that this is what you want to achieve, but maybe this is what she's considering. And he will lay out that person's logical path. And what I love about that friendship, he's able to basically articulate to me in my own language, in my head, why she's feeling the way she's feeling or why she's thinking the way she's thinking. Then I understand it better. Then I'll go back and be like, oh, I get it. And some people might be saying like, well, why isn't your partner able to communicate perfectly to you in the way you understand? And it's like, well, we're human, right? I might have autism and she doesn't. Some people are better qualified at translating to, and I'd say in many ways she's, no, in a crazy amount of ways, she's perfect at understanding what she needs to say to get what she wants out of me. Because most debates she wins. She usually gets her way, regardless of how long. She does. She always wins. So she definitely knows how to work her magic. But sometimes sometimes you get trapped in like a logic loop of, I'm going to stop this source of information that is her coming to it. I'm just going to go somewhere else and get this information checked and see if it's right. And then I come back and I'll just be like, okay, I think this is what you meant. And then you'd be like, yes. And then I think for her, it's quite frustrating because she's just like, that's what I have been telling you. Why have you not been listening to me? And in my head, it's like, I just needed to like I needed to go get confirmation from somewhere else to make sure I wasn't listening to it in the wrong way. But yeah, in general, I would say that if you're in business, if you're going through changes, that doesn't mean that your partner understands fully what you're going through or your partner can read your mind. I think we all see everything through rose-tinted glasses and we assume that, oh, everyone gets what we're going through and everything's perfect. And how dare you not understand me because I'm so easy to read. And I think sometimes we all just need to see it like when you're watching a movie, you kind of just go, I don't know why they just don't talk to each other. Like, you know, when characters are just doing dumb stuff and you're just going, why doesn't he just tell her? Like, why doesn't she just tell him she's pregnant? Just tell him. Why we gotta play all these games? And you're just watching it, and then for like it's 30 minutes into this movie and catastrophes are happening. You're just thinking, if you just told him, none of this would be happening. And sometimes that's just what the real world's like. You just avoid saying things or you avoid communicating in the right way, but then you're so oblivious to why it's going wrong. You just it's overwhelming and frustrating.
You know what? This just reminded me of something actually, because there was a time where I got this when I was like applying for jobs, and I said to Rosie, this is how the conversation went. This is like 11 o'clock at night. And I was like, by the way, like, would you find it like fun if one day I just surprised you with like the fact that I got a job? And she was like, no. And I was like, oh, why not? She was like, well, you're going to find that really stressful period and I'm not going to know what you're going through. So I want to know what you're going through. And it's like, although you might not want to tell me in case it's another rejection, I need to understand everything that's going on in case I say the wrong thing and accidentally piss you off. And I went, oh, well, I have an interview in 2 days. Like, she was like, is this why you've been stressed out? And I was like, yeah, no, you make valid points. Okay, that was a really shit idea. Because I was sick of saying like, oh, I've got another interview. Oh, and I was sick of just telling her everything going wrong. And actually, I actually needed to. So yeah, that was a dumb idea on my part.
Bad, doesn't it?
And yeah, and so she was like, that's a terrible idea. Like, you need to tell me. So yeah, that idea got yeeted very quickly because it didn't happen to me. Be like, should I tell her about this or wait till it actually gets to final stage?
You kind of want to, you don't want to. It gets to the point where like, so there was a time where when Sarah found out about the rounds, because I was stressed about telling her. I think you even knew I was a bit stressed about. I was going through stuff at the time. I was stressed about like bringing that up as well because I just feel like, oh, God's sake, I'm just such a fail. Like I'm such a fail of a man. Like I can't even provide. Not like I was even paying like 100% of the bills. We still do 50-50. But I'm out here acting like Andrew Tate. Like I can't provide for my family. That being my fiance and our 2 cats. Like, I was such a failure. And then I remember after like she found out like I was looking for jobs and like, I mean, I've been quite fortunate. Interviews came through quite in good ratio compared to my application to interview ratio has been quite healthy. And I've been quite lucky in that respect. But she made a joke about how she was the breadwinner. And she's like, I'm basically your sugar mama now, aren't I? And as funny as it was, that laugh did not hit. that laugh did not hit. Like when she said it, the pause, I just paused for a minute. I'm just like, I think I hate you. I think I hate you. Like, how dare you say that? And I kind of laughed because I knew it was a funny moment. I knew obviously she didn't mean that, but it struck such a chord in me of like, how dare you? Like, how dare you hurt me when I'm weak like this? How dare you get me when I'm down? And I never ever reacted on it to her because it was such an illogical way of seeing it. I could tell that I was fully in my emotions, and I just felt like I was doing internal speak to make myself be upset about something that was really, it was quite funny. It was actually it was a well-timed joke. And I could tell throughout the whole day I was waiting for a chance to like get her back with a comeback. And it went past like the time limit where you can give an acceptable comeback. At that point, you're just holding a grudge. And I just had to let it go. And it made me feel sick inside to let it go because I'm petty. But I let it go. And I've learned that sometimes you just need to do that. Sometimes you just need to let stuff go. Like there's things that in the grand scheme of things you'll look back to. I mean, I'm not saying let everything go. Some people out here having like shoes thrown to the back of their heads. Don't let that go. Some people out here like turning up in the bar and she's doing some business with another dolly or he's doing a business with some other person. Don't let that go. But there are certain little petty little gripes that we all hold because we think it's so important that it's resolved. And it's just not. In the grand scheme of things, if you're trying to build an empire, you're trying to get your career up, you're just trying to move on to the next thing. You're going to look back at all of this in your pension. You might not even remember some of these moments. And if you've got yourself to a point where you do remember it, you just let it
just like
ruin your life.
You touched upon it earlier, you know, if Sarah were to earn, or like if you were to be like not earn as much as your partner. And I always used to think that way in terms of like, oh yeah, like, you know, hopefully I should be earning more than my partner and stuff like that. But now it's like, I actually don't care.
Oh, I'm not,
I'm
not gonna lie.
Purely because like,
I'm calm
you
on
know,
it now.
if Rosie does well, like I benefit from it. Like if Rosie ends up earning 5 times more than me, like, you know, more power, like we're good. Like, because, you know, it's a win. Like when I got a new job,
Hopefully
like
she makes all that money after we're married. Then,
it's a win.
50-50, lady.
Yeah, it's a win for both of us. It's our money now. We're rich. And it's like we always have that conversation of like, oh, if you won the Euro Millions, like, how much would you give to me or whatever? And Rosie and I had this conversation again like the other day. I was like, Rosie, if I win like 200 million Euro Millions, like I don't need to give you anything because half of it's going to be yours anyway.
Isn't it?
Like it's more like do you mind if I just hold? It's like it's the equivalent of like holding the trolley for me in the shopping when it's going to be paid for anyway. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, oh, can I just hold? Like, it's what we actually do it. Like,
yeah,
it's fine. Like, I could just send you a mil, fine. But it's like, you know, the other 49 is going to be yours anyway.
Saying no
one. You know what I mean?
I'm not being caught on record saying that. I ain't sending no one a mil. If I win 250 mil, Lewis, you will be one of a few people that know. Only because I know you won't ask me for anything.
That would
usually be one of the few people. Like Sarah would obviously know because she'll just be like, Sam, why are you looking up holidays? Why are you trying to book a flight to space? And I was like, Sarah, we're up now. We're up. Cheap's 100K.
Like, be like, I'll never say,
okay, I've got money to burn.
I won the lottery, but there will be signs.
Literally, there will be obvious signs. Like I would turn up to our meetings in different cars every day, and you'd just be like, "What's going on?" And I'm like, "I think you know what's happened now, Lewis. I think we both know what's happened now." But yeah, I think there'll definitely be obvious signs. But in general, I think we're getting near the point where we need to wrap it up. To be honest,
Yeah, we'll
it's
wrap
quite
up.
late. I need to wake up early. But I would say that a relationship is key, but it's not the end all. It's not the make or break of your success. A lot of people have probably not found this episode as exciting because you're not in a relationship. You've not found it as maybe it's not been aligned with you. And I think to those people that are searching for their special someone, don't let it be your bloody character trait. There are so many people I know who are single and their whole character is being single. There's some guys I know who are single and they feel like they have to fill that void by pulling every time to justify their singleness. Like, I'm single, but I'm having fun. No one cares. You just look like a hoe. Like, relax yourself. It's not a character trait to have someone in your life. It's a benefit to have someone that you care about in your life. It's not who you are.
It's a benefit if it's going well and if it's actually the right partner.
Exactly.
Because choosing the wrong partner is the worst.
It's
and it will ruin.
Honestly,
It can ruin your life. Like
the
it
opposite
literally
is
can
like-
ruin your life. And
the
the thing
opposite
is,
is people who hyper focus on having the perfect someone,
yeah,
and they stay single because they have their criteria is impossible.
100%.
Like I look at this criteria and I'm just like, you don't even fulfill your own criteria list.
I can't lie to you. I wasn't that bad, but I was getting those tendencies, and then I actually had to G-check myself and be like, wait, this is actually
It's
stupid.
ridiculous.
And
like, you'd be like, oh, he doesn't earn this much, or oh, this one time he worked in retail. You'd be like, oh, I'm not sure if that. But what are you doing?
What I would say is that to those who are single and might be thinking like, oh, who is the right partner?
Yeah.
What I will say is this, and this is actually, I'm not saying this episode is advice, by the way, it's just navigating our experiences. But this is the advice.
It is, we're better than you.
All right.
I'm joking.
It's mad. Let's say this: your partner is, in my books, an extension of yourself.
Yeah.
Right. So you shouldn't tolerate anything from your partner that you wouldn't tolerate yourself. Like, if they're, cussing to like your in-laws or some shit. Like, if you won't do that to your in-laws or whatever, like you are the benchmark. If your partner matches that benchmark or surpasses it in other areas, which is great, I would say that. But if you can't communicate your problems to your partner, you're not with the right partner. Like, that's probably the number one thing. It's like, can you actually tell your partner if something bad about them, if they've done something bad, or they've upset you, or they disrespected you accidentally? Can you actually communicate? I didn't like when you did this, and it upset me. And can you actually navigate that? It's not the
theme of what we're doing as well.
Yeah. I'll say it's not the quality time on the holidays and the chemistry. Like, anyone can do that. Like, anyone. It's super easy to do, but can you actually, have a disagreement and still, love each other out of it? Like, that's actually the main thing.
I think in keeping with the theme of the episode as well, is like, it's important to actually have a relationship that grows. Everyone looks for perfects at the start. You're looking for like the complete package. And this is how I see it. It sounds really cheesy, but in many ways, you should complete each other, or you should help each other develop into your full person. No one's ever 100% of their person. There's so much in life that we're yet to experience. You could be in your pension, and there's still so much in life you're yet to experience to make you who you are. There's still many more traumatic events to go through, guys. That will shape you as a person. Don't worry. The universe has its ways of changing you eventually, and people seem to want like the perfect person from the get-go, almost as though it's like, oh, there's a package deal available. You want to get the most for your money. And it's such a boring life to live where okay, let me put it this way. The idea of having someone who's perfect at everything from the beginning of your relationship is such a boring idea to me. It's the most depressing thing because there's nothing to develop. There's nothing new to learn about each other. Like, to this day, me and Sarah still find new things about each other. I'm not trying to brag that we're perfect, but also I wouldn't propose to her if I didn't think that we're a good match for each other. I would not propose if I thought there was something better out there. I'd also be a massive dick if I did. But in general, it's a simple fact that we should be growing with each other. There's more in life to experience, and it's good to have someone that you can experience it with. You should be in many ways malleable to each other's needs and wants because you're grown into essentially the same brand as a couple. Like, in many respects, you are a unit. You're growing into a unit. A lot of people think that, okay, relationship, I'll maintain who I am. This is my brand, blah, blah. Good for you, but then are you in the right relationship if you're basically actively trying to stay as separate people? You're actively trying to make sure you're basically single.
You both have
in all other respects.
Yeah,
you have to mold.
Absolutely, because like, the one is built. It's not found. It's what
one is what its businesses sell that to you, so you can download their apps and pay that stuff.
But I would say your soulmate or whoever, right? It's actually who the person you're with actually grows into. It's not like oh, there they are, it's over there, and they've already put it's built together. So you understand, like,
it's a savage thing to say. There are more. I don't think everyone just has one. I don't think it's possible, and that's my logic brain here working. Whereas take emotions out of the door. We're nearing 8 billion people. I think we've gone past 8 billion by now, surely. But with that many people on the planet, logically, there cannot just be only one person that's perfect for you, right? I think the perfect person for you is judged on the time and place when you're ready to meet that person, and they're there for you to meet them. When you meet them, are they able to develop with you? Are you able to grow into better people with each other? Yes. If you're in a relationship right now, you think, oh, I found that person, but now it's going really bad, but I'm just going to stick it through because, there's no chance I'll find anyone like this again. You've also got to consider the fact that there might be time or capabilities of developing that same experience with someone else. I'm not advocating everyone break up now and go try something new. I'm not trying to say delete the game, delete the game and start a new game. Like, I'm not trying to say that. I'm just trying to say I'm not trying to defend toxic relationships where someone's listening to this and using our advice to defend that either.
And
I'm also saying that you can find another special someone. I think the most painful thing about having to find another special someone is knowing that you've lost time.
Reset. It's a reset.
It's that reset and having to start again.
It's a sunk cost. And dude, there's so many times where you hear like, bro, people in relationships would be like, oh yeah, like it's really bad, but when it's good, it's really, really good. And I'm like, what the fuck did you just say?
What are you saying right now? What toxic parables are you spitting?
One of the things I will say as well is actually what I found is that, people talk about, oh, the spark and like a relationship is like, oh, like they're hugging, kissing all the time. And like, that's what love looks like. It's like, it's actually not. Like in the beginning it is, but for me, it's like it's actually peaceful.
Yeah.
And it's not I need to hold your hand and like we're hugging, kissing every 2 seconds. It's actually I can sit here reading a book and you can be sitting there on your phone or TikTok ever. And there are no awesome parts. And we're just chilling. It's very quiet. Lust is very loud. Like the spark's very loud. For me, it's actually just peace of mind.
I've never seen those relationships last long unless they're just freaks. Like also, absolute demons. I've not seen them last long. There's relationships where they're just in each other's faces all the time.
There was actually
go on.
Sorry, continue. Sorry, I cut you off there.
No, I was gonna say, like, the relationships where it's just constant PDA, constant like showing off how amazing they are, constant like, oh my god, he's so special, he's so amazing, and all that. They are throwing plates at each other at home, I promise you.
Yeah.
It's not that great.
And
it's not great.
To jump on that as well, is that there was actually a study that couples who keep on posting each other on social media, and their social media is just, oh, my partner this, and they're doing Instagram stories of, oh, love of my life, and they're literally side-eyeing you in the story. No, but to be fair, Sam, you're not that bad. I'm not going to put it up. I'm like every single day. I'm saying like every single day you're posting about partner. Oh my god, the amor, whatever, and you're not even Spanish. Right? It's like they're like there's a study that these couples are so fragile. These relationships are fragile.
It's the rate at which they move. It's like they burn out their fuel in their relationship within the first year. Whereas people like develop, you replenish. I'll put it this way: I don't like using Instagram. I use Instagram just to share happy moments when I feel like society thinks I should. It's all just painting the picture. And if you go through my Instagram right now, most posts on there are just me and Sarah because she makes me post stuff. She would just be like, don't you want to post something nice on Instagram at some point? And I'll be like, okay, fine. Like, I hate doing it. And one point she made, and I think this is why my Instagram looks the way it looks, is like, sometimes she's like, sometimes I feel sad and I'll just go through my albums and I just see happy pictures and they just make me happy. And I think she's like, wouldn't you want to be able to do that with some like Instagram or something where you can just go through it? And I'll be like, fair enough. So my Instagram is basically a depiction of like moments that I want to be able to look at one day and be like, oh, that's nice. And I share it with everyone because I kind of want everyone to know I'm still alive. No, like I'm still happy. But the people that if I open my phone every day and I've got a notification, you put up a story and I'm seeing you and your partner on a date, and then the next day you're telling me that, oh God, yeah, this happens. Shut up. Stop posting. Shut up.
And no offense to those couples, because I know there's going to be couples listening and be like, I post my partner all the time and say how much I love them on social media. I'm just saying there are studies that these ones are a little bit.
Speaking to those people, if you're posting every day, do you not have a day job? Yes. Do you not do other things in your life other than just always be in each other's spaces?
Like, if you feel the need to show off your relationship that much, I feel like
when it's just only been phase. When it's the first few months, I'm like, we'll give them their pass. Like they're enjoying it. They're like, I remember when I was there.
But don't say I found my future wife on social media when it's like 6 weeks out, because you're at high risk of having to delete that post and everyone will remember.
No one believes it. Everyone is saving that post just so they can look at it when it goes wrong.
Oh, you'll be roasted in the boys group chat. Just don't do it. Just don't do it.
And we know because we've seen it happen live. I've seen Manlem get roasted for these types of posts where it's just like,
you don't want to have to go back and delete too many posts, because
it's when you open up, because guys are savage. When you open up, you're like, oh, we broke up. Be like, she was the one, yeah? She was the one. Gonna get married forever, yeah? Oh, how did that work out? Like, guys,
what do you say before a ring? Dick. Put it all on red now. No, I'm being serious. Oh, bro. All right, we're gonna wrap.
Anyway, let's wrap it up. I need to go to bed. Got an early start.
Guys, all of you enjoyed, subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow us on Spotify, follow us on Instagram, the podcast Evolve. See you guys in a bit. Take care.
Okay, guys. Love you. Bye.